Hello guys, and welcome to this VolksWizard video. Now some of you may have already seen the video in which I talk about 6 things that I dislike about my Volkswagen Up GTI. Well, it only seems fair that I should do a video talking about 6 things that I love about my Volkswagen Up GTI, because there is a lot to love about this little car. It's genuinely been one of the few cars that's met my expectations in nearly every way. In fact, in some areas it's actually exceeded them, and it's those things that I want to talk about today. So without any further ado, let me show you 6 things that I love about my Volkswagen Up GTI. Right then, the first thing I love about my Volkswagen Up GTI is that it's very good on fuel. Now, I know it's a GTI and this shouldn't be a top priority, but it is a daily driver for people, and if you've got something thirsty to use at weekends like I have, it's just nice to have something that does well over 45 to the gallon on a regular basis, particularly if your weekend car is a V8 and does more like low 20s on average. Then you'll end up somewhere in the 30s, which is pretty reasonable, particularly if you enjoy driving it, which I do with this car. Now, I'm going to do a trip that is typical business trip for me. I'm going to go across Birmingham, but I'm going to use the M42 to go round to the northeast. It's going to be about 20 miles, and I just thought I'd show you what we do on this trip. The engine is cold, as I'll just show you on the GoPro. Well, it's probably got some warmth into it, 55 degrees centigrade, so it's still running on the warm-up cycle. But we're going to get warmed up really quickly in this car. So let's go. Just so you know, we've got the air conditioning off, we're running just daytime running lights, the stereo's not on, there's no other consumers using any power, so we're running as sort of light as we can, and so it's 8.5 degrees ambient, so it could be colder, could be warmer. I'm going to try and follow the gear change indicator to change gear when it tells me to. That's telling me to go to 6th, and obviously I'm going to comply with the speed limit, so we're doing 40 now in a 40. Okay, coolant temp is now up to 80 degrees, so it's pretty much warmed up. There's still a bit to go, but we've already done 43.4, and we've only really been doing 40-30. So that's not bad. It just shows you the potential of this car for urban use, because it's got a small engine, which makes all the difference. The turbo only comes in when you provoke it. So that was about 1.8 miles to the Beckett's Farm roundabout from my work, so still early days. So put the cruise on at an indicated 60. I'm a bit bored now, so let's go a bit faster up to 70. The easiest way to do it is override the cruise with your foot, because the cruise will be far too aggressive if you press the up button on the stalk, and then get to 70, which is what the limit is, and press set. So 70 now, we're about 5 miles in, we're doing 53.4 right now. Okay, time for a bit of a sit rep. We're about 19 miles in now, we're just approaching the M42, M6 intersections, going up towards Tamworth, and we're showing 66.3. Right then, we're a few miles off the motorway now. We're how far into the journey are we? We've been driving 32 minutes, and we've done 22 miles. And it's going pretty well, I have to say. We're up to 68.4 now, and I'm not doing any deliberate economy kind of driving, I'm just keeping up with the traffic. Right then, we're sort of coming to the end now. It's probably the last report before we actually stop at the end of the journey. And because we've done a fair bit of urban from the motorway to here, we're a few miles into the urban bit, and there's been a fair bit of stop-start, I mean like junctions and things. We've crept down to 67.7, which, okay, we're not going to do 70, but that's still pretty impressive. Okay, that's it then. So we're at my destination in Sutton Coldfield, and let's just have a look at the computer now. 67.6 average on this trip, and we've been travelling 42 minutes. We've done average of 37 miles per hour and 26 miles, so that's pretty representative of what you do if you do like extra urban, they probably call that. So yeah, that's not bad at all. Now let's move on to something much more exciting. Okay, the second thing I love about my Volkswagen Up GTI is the way the engine performs. Now I know it's only 1 litre, I know it's only 3-cylinder, I know it's only got 115 horsepower, which sounds paltry, But the important thing is this engine benefits from the modern world of turbocharging, which means it has a hell of a lot of low down response, and that's what you need in real world driving. I know 0 to 60 times are what magazines spout a lot, and this car is slower than the Lupo GTI, but it's got a lot more torque than the Lupo GTI, and in real world driving that makes this car a lot more urgent and a lot more enjoyable to drive in the way that you and I drive, unlike journalists who drive on test tracks or empty Welsh roads. So for example, we're actually in third now and we're going up a bit of a hill. We're doing 20 miles an hour, 2000 RPM. There will be a bit of lag, but a bit of wheel spin, and that is a serious response. This is what makes this car so special, the amount of torque. And it has other benefits as well. Obviously it means that you can run high gears, which means you get a better fuel economy, so it's much quieter on a motorway than a Lupo GTI, or it's much lower revving. But it just makes it such a frisky little car. If only it had tyres to suit, as we kind of found out then, under braking. It's a little bit slippery on the road today, but if only it had tyres that could make the most of that torque, it would be great. But you know, you can still use it a lot as long as you're not stupid, and once you're rolling the torque's still there and the traction's a lot better. So again, third gear, 20 miles an hour, 30, 40, 60 in third. If I looked a bit scared then, it's because I can't tell if these road surfaces are icy or not. We're on the back lanes of North Worcestershire, which very rarely get gritted, and it is hovering around 1.5 degrees right now. So yeah, 115 horsepower, that's more than enough today, thank you. Okay, the third thing that I love about my Volkswagen Up GTI is how compact it is. Now, apart from being able to get it into my garage in one go rather than have to manoeuvre it like I do in anything bigger than this, particularly Golf 7, which is a really tricky car to squeeze in, it means that on roads like this, which has got a pretty horrible curb and is really narrow and often people on the wrong side of the road, I don't have to worry an awful lot like I would do in a Golf. It also means that I can drive these roads and enjoy them rather than have to grimace. The alternative route to this one is to take a really boring arterial road. Because this car's so great on roads like this, I actually enjoy taking this alternative route, which I didn't used to in anything bigger. Now it is pretty narrow, and there are some pretty hairy spots on this road where if you had like two big vehicles meeting, you'd definitely make contact. But in this car, I've got a lot more leeway. And the upshot of that is that instead of having a really tedious grind of a commute, I can do it on roads like this and have an absolute hoot. The fourth thing I love about the Volkswagen Up GTI is that it's got a proper handbrake, which means that mini roundabouts now are quite good fun, actually. Sorry about that, got a bit carried away looking at my Volkswagen Up GTI, which brings me on to point number 5. I absolutely adore the way it looks. Now, part of that comes from the fact that the basic Up is actually quite a good looking car anyway. I mean, if you compare it to the standard Lupo, not the GTI, which is perfectly sort of slab-sided, it's got lovely swollen arches, which superb and perfect for the GTI treatment. Lower it a bit, put some big wheels on it, you get a car that actually sits really nicely. But apart from that, to make it into a GTI to look at, they've been really clever, which the upshot of that is that we can afford to buy them. If they'd put xenon headlights in and made it even wider arched, it would have probably been like 18 grand or the 20 grand that the Lupo GTI would be today if you take inflation into account. They didn't do that, which meant we could go out and enjoy them and buy them, you know, and afford them, and yet it still looks completely different to my eyes from every angle from a normal Up. For a start, on the side we've just got some light decals which must cost next to nothing, but they go back to the Mark 1 Golf GTI, and from the side it's quite clearly different to every other Up. We've also got sill covers, which they have borrowed off another Up, but it's only the E-Up, and well, you've got to have sill covers on a GTI, haven't you? The wheels, well, they look like BBS, which is obviously the classic brand for a GTI, but they're made by Ronal. The important thing is they look superb, and again, they're very distinctive. I know some people say they drive better on smaller wheels, but just look at it. At the back we've got probably one of the few unique bits, which is the spoiler, which is quite bold, but we've got bumpers nicked off the TSI 90, which again means that the accountants can just approve that with no problem. The designers then put a gloss black panel in, which probably doesn't cost much, maybe even cost less than having it body coloured, and that looks good, makes it distinctive, but it also draws a link with the Mark V Golf GTI, which has got a similar thing around the number plate. There are other bits and pieces as well, like the GTI badges on the wings, which are the same as Mark 7 Golf, but you know, if the part's already in the parts bin, it doesn't cost a lot to put it on. If they have to develop it from scratch, that's when it becomes a bit of an issue on a car at this price. So yeah, not only do I like the look of it, I like the fact, because they've been clever with the design, I can also afford it. And that brings me rather nicely onto my final point, point number 6, and that is that I love the value for money that you get with the Up GTI. Now, earlier in the week, a guy called Matt from Pistonheads tweeted about how he didn't think it was a particularly good car and how he thought the hype surrounding it was only there because it was a Volkswagen. Well, I pushed him on this a bit, and he said that a few years ago you could have bought a Twingo 133 or a Suzuki Swift Sport for similar money, and they were much nicer cars to drive. Well, if you work for a company whose slogan is speed matters, you're not really going to get a car like this, because this is one car where speed actually doesn't matter. But I pointed out to him, as somebody who lives with this car every day, it's much more important to me to have a car with better build quality, better component quality, better reliability and better durability, rather than have a car that's a little bit better dynamically but fails in every other area like those cars do. And yes, it is a Volkswagen, but I don't think you're paying a premium for one of the most desirable badges on the road, and you also get that one for free as well, GTI badge. That's still highly desirable. Could you imagine the guy from the Beastie Boys having a Renault badge around his neck or a Suzuki badge? And the upshot of that is that the Up GTI is phenomenal value for money that's borne out by the used car prices. Now, this car was a May 2018 reg. It's done about 4,000 miles now. Okay, the list price was $14,850 with the options, but you get £1,000 off quite easily if you ask the main dealer. So $13,850 was what you could drive away with this car brand new. Today, it's still worth around £13,000. So that's under £1,000 depreciation in that time, which is not a lot, you know. And that's really important with a car like this, because yes, it's good on fuel and yes, it's fun, but that doesn't really matter if its value is plummeting really rapidly. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this VolksWizard video. If you have, please give it a thumbs up. It's really important that you subscribe as well, so please do that if you haven't already. Please comment, because I enjoy reading your comments and I will try and reply to everyone over the next few days at least, and I'll see you for the next video soon.